Greetings. This is me, Ariel Cohen, with the Global Take. The Middle East is in the news. Last week, the United States published the long-awaited intelligence report pointing the finger at the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, as responsible for the killing of Jamal Khashoggi, the journalist who was writing for the Washington Post in Turkey and Istanbul at the consulate of Saudi Arabia. And we are still awaiting for the White House statement on what is the future of the relationship with Saudi Arabia. After 9/11, we had a very difficult period with our Saudi allies. There were a lot of questions of who was involved and when they were involved and whatnot. But the relationship survived 9/11, and I will venture a guess that Joe Biden, being somewhat of a realist, will keep the US-Saudi relationship on track, among other things, because we are under pressure from Iran, the aspiring regional power in the Middle East, in a number of places. Not too long ago, the Iranians attacked a US base in Erbil in northern Iraq, in the Iraqi Kurdistan. And in retaliation, the US attacked an Iranian allied base, the pro-Iranian militia in Syria, not far from the Iraqi border. Despite the fact that the Biden administration is signaling that they want to have negotiations with Tehran to revive the Iran nuclear deal, the JCPOA, the Iranians are refusing to go to the negotiating table. The Iranians are tough negotiators. They would want US concessions even before they come to the negotiating table. But in the long term, the US interests in the Middle East are, these day and age, to keep China and Russia out and to keep the balance of security and energy in the Persian Gulf, in the Arab Gulf, in such a way that US allies, the Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Israel, Egypt, will remain safe and secure from the Iranian pressure. Iran today is involved in every conflict from the Mediterranean to the Red Sea, to Yemen. In Lebanon, Hezbollah is the fully owned Iranian militia, and the leader of Hezbollah has a title of the personal representative of the Iranian supreme leader in Lebanon. And you saw Lebanon over the past several years, several decades, deteriorated from the 1980s when the Iranians established a foothold with the Shia Hezbollah. Until today, the country just went down and down. In the neighboring Syria, the Iranians supported the Assad regime, a brutal dictatorship that murdered tens of thousands of Syrians and turned about a third of the population of the country into internally displaced persons and refugees. Europe is inundated by people from Syria, as well as the United States and other countries. Iran is supporting the rebels in Yemen, the Houthi rebels, and the militias in Iraq. So to keep things in perspective, as tragic as the death of Khashoggi was, the United States, in my view, is going to remember what our national interests are in terms of the regional balance, in terms of knowing who our allies are, where are the markets for our goods and services, yes, including weapons, and we will not single-handedly destroy the relationship with Kingdom of Saudi Arabia that goes back all the way to President Roosevelt and King Abdulaziz meeting in the Suez Canal on board of an American warship in 1945. And finally, I want to mention that the Iranians attacked a tanker that is owned by an Israeli company, and the Israelis announced that they are positive that this tanker was attacked by, apparently, the Iranian commander, frogmen. There were mines attached to the hull of the tanker above the waterline, so the explosions will not sink it. The tanker is now in Dubai for repairs, but this is another episode in the ongoing tit-for-tat of low-intensity warfare in Iran. Of course, it is in nobody's interest that the Middle East would go up the escalation ladder, because if you take it all the way up, you end up in the nuclear spectrum of the escalation. That's why Iran is trying to gain nuclear weapons. And of course, that's why Israel views it as an absolutely vital threat to its safety, security, and survival. And also that's why the US and our European allies are not really interested in Iran becoming a nuclear power. So stay with us, watch this space. Unfortunately, the Middle East is always a source of fascinating news, intrigue, violence, warfare, and yes, energy. Stay with us, The Global Take. Subscribe and share this podcast, and I'll see you soon again. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to get more content like this.